Welcome back to the Constellation series, where this month we are in Leo. Last month, we left off with Cancer, which is a water sign. We're slowly working our way through the elements right now, and this month is our very first fire sign. The first part of building these sculptures, designing these sculptures, embodying them, is first looking at the constellations themselves. I'm not just gonna make a lion, right? I mean, I can make an exact replica of a lion if I wanted to. I like to get more abstract because I feel like there's so much more left for the audience to put themselves into. All of their experiences, all of their perceptions are able to be injected into something more abstract than something so literal. I started with the stars, doing some research, finding out the actual three-dimensional shape of the constellation, the actual distance from us to all these stars, the distance from each other. Now, once I had the stars relatively established, I wanted to embody the element a little bit. As a blacksmith, I have a very close relationship with fire. I use it as a tool every day. It allows me to turn cold, hard steel plastic. And I can move it, I can mold it, I can shape it. Now, when I think of fire, I think of aggressive. I think of things moving a little bit faster than flowing, meandering water. It's lapping, it's licking, it's dancing around. So on this hand, I have the star constellation and the lion. And over here, I had fire, hungry, aggressive. I wanted to maintain the heart of this entire series, make them all very similar to each other. But this one I had a little bit of fun with, and I just kind of imagined, in a very abstract sense, the lion kind of rearing up and roaring, just with that very round base, almost how like a flame off of a candle holds its shape, round at the bottom, and then it laps up into these lovely points and swirls. I didn't want it to be too obvious. I wanted you to be able to kind of look at it and kind of, oh yeah, I think I can see it. That's the beauty of abstract, is there's hidden messages the deeper you look. And of course, it felt just too appropriate to light up the forges, get some fires going to forge this fire sign. Now, in a lot of these tendrils, I forge it out to a scroll. It's timeless. There's just something about the scroll, for me at least, that embodies my work a lot. But on a couple of these, I wanted to do something a little bit different, is around some of these captures where the glass will be nestled inside. I wanted some of these tendrils to just lightly trace around the glass effortlessly, like it was always meant to be there, but for an onlooker, might seem impossible how this was achieved. Now, in effort to maintain the heart, like the hub, the center of this entire sculpture series, is making sure that the base maintains its shape throughout. The sculptures themselves have plenty going on. They're unique enough to be out on their own. I wanted the base to be completely standardized. So then it was time to fire up the little roller there, make those cylinders, cut out the base, weld that all up, and I wanted it to be clean, without detail almost. You know, as a pedestal, I want the sculpture to be exalted overhead, leaving the base to kind of just blend in with the environment. I don't want to show any welds. You know, this isn't rookie hour. I want to put a nice bevel, a nice 45 thick, probably half-inch bevel on this material, just to show nice, clean intention. Now, when it comes to shaping these pieces of steel into their final form, cold forging. It's nice and controlled. I don't have to worry about placing heat anywhere, any hot spots, cold spots. This is stuff we've already gone over. If you're an aspiring blacksmith, trying to get into it, there's a lot of just tools, ordinary stuff that you can just find around that you can use to bend steel. Your standard crescent wrench. Your standard crescent wrench can be a valuable tool. It still is in my shop for moving steel, making it go where it needs to go. Once all the steel elements are all forged out, and then it was time to put everything together. And that's a very magical moment. To get this constellation perfect, I have to kind of build myself a matrix. And that's why drawing it out to scale in the design phase is so useful, because I get to just take measurements right from the drawing and put them out there on the steel. When I'm going from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions, it's not a perfect science. There is an extreme amount of intuition that is involved, but it gets me a lot closer than if I was just winging it. Next step is, of course, the glass. Now, there's not a lot of freedom when it comes to what's the color of fire, right? We are all very familiar with it. But I'll tell you what, I'm usually not like a red and orange and yellow sort of guy, but these colors almost like jumped out of the glass. I was almost like, ooh, thinking they were just too hot to handle. They were beautiful colors. Now, I'm not welding the glass. I'm welding kind of near the glass, which requires protection. There are sparks and, pretty much liquid balls of steel flying all around when I'm welding, and those will melt into the glass. So I have to protect it a little bit. So I use just a little bit of tape, mask over those things to weld them into place. When you just have a smattering of stars, it's just the night sky. But when you start to link them together with lines, that's when they become a constellation. That's when they relate to one another. So it's really fun to take some 1/4-inch rod and bridge the gap between these elements. Building something, creating something is wrought with magical moments. And I'll tell you what, when all the steel is in place and I get to uncover all that beautiful glass from the masking tape, that is a magical moment. It's funny, I really try to extend and really stretch the amount of time that I get to sit back and appreciate what I build. Usually I spend months toiling on a project, and then once it's done, boom, tired of it, I'm moving on to the next thing. There's something to be said about sitting down and appreciating what we build before we start something else. And I'll tell you what, hanging out with Leo in its beautiful space was magical. You know, those wonderful oranges and reds and yellows just illuminated by our sun was pretty darn cool. And all the prisms it creates, it's just beautiful. And I really tried to embody that a little bit this time around. And in moving forward, I'm gonna try to sit with my work a little bit longer before I go moving on to something else. Now that our first fire sign, Leo, was forged, finished, and in its new home, it's time to move on. It's time to move on to Virgo next month. And I'm so excited to share the journey with you all. And as always, my friends, thank you for watching.